something that sounds impossible, but isn't. We've mapped more of the surface of the moon than we have of our own ocean floor. Think about that for a second. A rock 238,000 miles away is better understood than something right here on Earth, covering 70% of the planet you live on. The ocean isn't one place. It's 5 separate worlds, stacked one on top of the other, each one stranger and more hostile than the last. And in this series, we're going to descend through every single one of them. This is episode 1. Welcome to the Sunlight Zone. From the surface down to about 200 meters, this is the ocean most people picture when they hear the word. Sunlight reaches all the way down here, which means something extraordinary can happen. Photosynthesis underwater, on a scale most people never stop to consider. Tiny organisms called phytoplankton drift through these sunlit waters by the trillions, converting light into energy exactly like plants do on land. They're so abundant, they produce over half of the oxygen in Earth's entire atmosphere. Every second breath you take exists because of something floating in the top 200 meters of ocean. Something too small to see with the naked eye, doing more for your survival than almost anything else on the planet. This thin layer supports coral reefs, whales, sharks, sea turtles, and nearly every ocean animal a person could name off the top of their head. It's vibrant, it's colorful, and it's exactly what nature documentaries have trained us to picture whenever someone says the word ocean. And here's the part that catches most people off guard. This entire sunlit world, the one filling every nature documentary you've ever seen, makes up roughly 10% of the ocean's total volume. 90% of the ocean exists below, where sunlight can reach at all. 200 meters down, we cross into the Twilight Zone. And the moment we do, the rules change completely. Sunlight here is barely a whisper, enough for a trained eye to notice faint color, but nowhere near enough to support plant life. Photosynthesis simply stops working. Anything that survives down here has to find another way to eat, another way to see, another way to exist. And yet, something extraordinary happens in this zone every single night. As darkness falls on the surface, an enormous number of Twilight Zone animals rise upward to feed, then sink back down before sunrise. Scientists call it the largest migration on Earth, measured not in miles traveled, but in sheer biomass moved, night after night, almost entirely unseen by human eyes. It's happening right now, somewhere in the ocean as you're listening to this. At 1000 meters, we enter the midnight zone. And here, the darkness isn't dim anymore. It's absolute. No sunlight reaches this depth, not a trace. Total permanent night, every hour of every day for the rest of time. The pressure here is crushing, over 100 times what you feel at the surface. Enough to instantly crush an unprotected human body down to nothing. Anything that lives here has evolved under conditions that would be lethal to almost every creature we are familiar with, including us. So how does anything survive in complete darkness under that kind of pressure? With no plants and no sunlight anywhere in reach? A huge part of the answer is something we'll explore in full detail in an upcoming episode, Bioluminescence Down Here. Producing your own light isn't a curiosity or a party trick. It's often the difference between finding food and starving quietly in the dark. Below 4,000 meters, we reach the Abyssal Zone, a flat, cold, almost alien landscape covering more of Earth's surface than any other single environment on the planet. And beyond that, the Hadal Zone, the trenches, plunging past 6,000, past 10,000, all the way to nearly 11,000 meters at the very deepest point on Earth. Down here, temperatures hover just above freezing. Pressure exceeds 1,000 times what you'd feel standing on a beach, equivalent to the weight of roughly 50 jumbo jets pressing down on a single person. And still, against every intuition, life exists here too. We'll descend into exactly how in a future episode. So why don't we know more about all of this? Why does a planet covered mostly in water remain, in so many ways, a total mystery to the species living on it? The truth is straightforward, if a little humbling. It's expensive, it's dangerous. Sunlight, radio signals, even GPS, none of it works underwater the way it does in space. Building something that can survive crushing pressure and total darkness is in some ways harder than building something that can survive the vacuum of space. Right now in 2026, more than 80% of the ocean remains completely unmapped and unexplored, not slightly understood. Unexplored, an entire majority of our own planet, still waiting to be seen for the very first time. That's exactly what this series is going to do. Episode by episode, we're going to descend deeper into each of these zones, the glowing creatures of the Midnight Zone, the impossible ecosystems living without sunlight at all, the giants that inspired centuries of sea monster legends, and finally, the deepest point any human has ever reached. The ocean has been keeping its secrets for as long as there's been an ocean to keep them in. We are just getting started pulling back the curtain. So tell me, out of everything you just heard, which zone genuinely unsettles you the most? The endless dark of the Midnight Zone or the crushing depths of the trenches below it? Drop your answer in the comments and take a guess at what you think episode 2 is going to cover. I'll see you in the next one.